Costco shoppers, listen up. You may think you're a savvy saver strolling those warehouse aisles, but behind those towering pallets of bulk deals lie products that Costco employees are silently begging you not to buy. Why? Because these items aren't just disappointing. They're borderline scams hiding in plain sight, waiting to ruin your meals, waste your money, and test the limits of your patience. From questionable quality to sneaky downsides no one tells you about, these are the 10 grocery items Costco insiders desperately wish you'd leave on the shelf. Think you're getting a bargain? Think again, because some of these products might be costing you more than you ever imagined. Buckle up, because this list isn't just eye-opening, it's a shopping revolution. Ready to dive into the Costco cart catastrophes? Let's start with number 10. 10. Kirkland Signature Rotisserie Chicken. Costco's rotisserie chicken might seem like the deal of the century at just under $5, but insiders insist it's a major letdown. Sure, it's tender and seasoned on the outside, but many Costco employees privately grumble about the bird's ridiculous salt content. Some estimates peg each chicken at well over 600 milligrams of sodium per serving. That's more than a quarter of your recommended daily intake in just a few bites. And if you dig past the crisp skin, you'll often find pockets of under-seasoned or rubbery meat, suggesting that the famous rotisserie flavor doesn't always penetrate evenly. Then there's the shrink ray effect. Longtime shoppers swear these chickens have gotten smaller over the years, forcing you to buy multiple birds if you're feeding a crowd. Let's not forget those disposable plastic domes, which trap steam and can make the skin soggy by the time you get home. Employees also see folks snatching these up late in the day, unaware that the chickens could have been sitting under heat lamps for hours, drying out with every passing minute. If you're after a truly satisfying roasted chicken, skip Costco's shortcut and roast one at home with your own blend of spices and seasonings. 9. Bulk avocados. Don't be fooled by that towering stack of large avocado bags in Costco's produce section. Employees say they cringe when they see people loading up on these, knowing all too well the avocado roulette that comes next. One moment they're rock hard, the next they're browning on your counter, leaving about a 10-minute window to catch them at the perfect texture. But the real heartbreak is when you slice them open and find bruised, stringy flesh that belongs in the compost rather than on your toast. These avocados often come from far-flung suppliers that prioritize size over flavor, meaning you're stuck with watery, bland fruit that won't enhance your guacamole or salad one bit. Another strike against them is price. While you might assume a bulk bag is cheaper per avocado, employees reveal that buying fewer, higher-quality avocados from a smaller grocery store can actually save you money, especially if you toss half of Costco's haul straight in the trash. Then there's the guilt factor. Those who don't devour every avocado end up throwing away piles of food waste. If you're set on Costco produce, try smaller items like berries, but leave the bulk avocados in that tempting green mountain of disappointment. 8. Kirkland Signature Maple Syrup. Maple syrup might not seem like a risky buy, but Costco's Kirkland Signature version has employees begging you to look twice. Despite the fancy labeling that touts 100% pure grade A, many shoppers find it alarmingly thin, more akin to watery sugar water than a rich, velvety syrup. Behind the scenes, employees say they've witnessed pallets of this stuff sitting in less than ideal warehouse conditions. Extreme temperature swings can degrade the delicate flavors authentic maple syrup is known for. And let's talk price. While it's certainly cheaper per ounce than smaller bottles at specialty stores, you're committing to a massive jug that can lose its flavor over time if you don't store it properly. Once opened, that giant container is a ticking clock, with some folks claiming it takes on a strange fermented aroma after a few months. Because of its sheer volume, most people don't use it up fast enough, and end up tossing half the bottle once they realize it's lost its once decent taste. Employees have heard it all: complaints about off flavors, weird separation, and sticky leaks from poorly sealed caps. If you want truly robust maple syrup, consider buying a smaller bottle of higher quality. Sometimes, bigger really isn't better. 7. Bulk spices. Loading up on a gallon-sized jar of cumin or paprika at Costco might sound economical, but employees warn it's a flavor gamble you'll likely lose. Spices lose potency fast. Most experts say you should replace them every 6 to 12 months. With Costco's gigantic containers, you'll be stuck with a flavorless powder long before you reach the bottom. Even if you manage to keep it fresh, you risk moisture sneaking in each time you pop that giant lid open, leading to clumping or even mold if stored improperly. Employees also mention that Costco rotates suppliers, so quality can swing drastically from one batch to the next. A once decent Kirkland Signature chili powder can take a nosedive in taste if sourced from a new provider with lower quality peppers. And don't be fooled by that lower cost per ounce. You're often throwing away half the container when the spice goes stale. The worst part? Stale spices can ruin an entire dish, costing you more in wasted ingredients. If you cook professionally or host large gatherings often, maybe the giant spice jugs make sense. But for the average home chef, you'll end up with a dusty relic in your pantry that never lives up to its initial promise. 6. Kirkland Signature Chicken Pot Pie. Costco's Kirkland Signature Chicken Pot Pie is a comfort food trap many shoppers fall into, but employees really wish you wouldn't. Sure, it looks hearty with that golden crust and the promise of tender chicken and vegetables in a creamy sauce. But bite into it, and you might discover a disappointment as large as the pie itself. Employees have noted that the filling can be shockingly salty. Some customers have reported tasting more salt than actual chicken. The ratio of crust to filling is another common gripe. That thick, dense dough up top can make the bottom layer soggy, leading to a textural letdown. And while the pie is massive, it's also pricey. You might expect a better quality meal for the $1.20 plus price tag. Then there's the issue of cooking time. Some people assume it's a quick dinner fix, but employees caution that fully baking this beast can take nearly an hour and a half. By the time it's done, the edges might be burnt while the middle is still lukewarm. If you're craving pot pie, you can make a homemade version for a fraction of the cost and tailor the flavors and salt levels to your liking, minus the Costco-sized disappointment. 5. Bulk nuts and seeds. Nuts and seeds might seem like a safe, healthy buy, but Costco's massive bags often lead to stale disappointment. Sure, the price per pound might look tempting, but employees say they watch countless customers end up tossing half the bag when it loses its crunch. Nuts are packed with natural oils that can turn rancid quickly, especially if you're repeatedly opening a giant bag that's not airtight. Almonds, cashews, sunflower seeds, whatever your choice, the risk is the same. Some folks try freezing them to preserve freshness, but that can alter the texture if not done carefully. There are also complaints about inconsistent quality. You might get a mix of perfectly roasted pieces and some that taste like cardboard. Costco sources these products in bulk from various suppliers, so each bag is a bit of a gamble. To make matters worse, that so-called value pack is rarely finished before the best flavor window slams shut. Employees often suggest that if you don't snack on nuts daily, you should buy smaller portions from a specialty store, where the turnover is high and the nuts haven't been sitting around. Bigger may look like a bargain, but it's wasted money if the last half ends up in the trash. 4. Kirkland Signature Olive Oil. At first glance, Costco's Kirkland Signature Olive Oil seems like a savvy purchase. Enormous jugs at a shockingly low price. But olive oil has a notorious shelf life, and employees quietly mention how frequently they see returned bottles of rancid-smelling oil. The issue? Once you open that jumbo container, oxygen, light, and heat work together to break down the oil's freshness at lightning speed. By the time you get halfway through, you might notice an off taste that can ruin your salads and sautés. Another complaint revolves around authenticity. While the label claims extra virgin, periodic third-party tests have raised concerns that mass-market olive oils sometimes fall short of the grade they advertise. That doesn't mean all Kirkland oil is bad, but the sheer volume increases your chances of not using it fast enough. Also, storing that huge container is no joke. If you keep it near a stove or in a warm pantry, you're accelerating spoilage. Employees say if you're a serious home chef who burns through olive oil quickly, you might be safe. But for most of us, it's better to buy a smaller, premium bottle that you can use up before it turns into a bitter, stale splash of regret. 3. Bulk bakery items. Those giant trays of muffins, cookies, and croissants might lure you in with their sweet aroma, but Costco employees say these bulk bakery buys are the epitome of regret. Sure, that 12-pack of chocolate muffins is priced to move, but do you really need a dozen? The reality is, they go stale or moldy long before most families can eat them all. Freezing is an option, but defrosted baked goods often lose their fluffy texture, leaving you with a dense, freezer-burnt imitation of the original. And then there's the sugar bomb factor. Costco muffins can tip the scales at over 600 calories each, with a whopping amount of sugar that can send your blood glucose soaring. Employees also mention the quality can vary wildly depending on the batch. Some trays are fresh and moist, while others taste like they've been sitting out for days. If you're feeding a crowd, the jumbo pastries might work, but everyday shoppers often end up tossing a good portion of the haul. Bottom line, it's best to grab a smaller package at a local bakery for better freshness and flavor. After all, there's nothing sweet about wasting both your money and your calorie count on stale, oversized treats. 2. Kirkland Signature Soda. Costco's Kirkland Signature Soda is one of those products employees can't stop warning you about. Despite the bold packaging and bargain pricing, the taste often falls flat. Literally. Customers frequently complain that this soda lacks the carbonation punch you'd expect from brand-name colas or lemon-lime varieties. Some folks even claim it goes completely flat within minutes of popping the can. Then there's the flavor profile. Whether it's cola or citrus, many describe it as artificial and cloyingly sweet, missing the crisp, refreshing quality that makes soda a guilty pleasure in the first place. Employees have heard time and again that people return cases after trying just a few cans, citing a funky aftertaste that lingers unpleasantly. Even if you can stomach the flavor, the bulk approach can be a gamble. 40-plus cans of something you don't love is a recipe for wasted fridge space. And don't assume it's healthier. The sugar content is on par with, if not higher than, big brand sodas. If you're set on buying soda at Costco, employees suggest sticking to well-known brands that regularly rotate in and out of stock, ensuring freshness. Kirkland Signature might nail it with other products, but soda isn't one of them. You've been warned. 1. Pre-marinated meats. One of Costco's biggest convenience traps has to be their pre-marinated meats, whether it's the garlic-seasoned tri-tip or the citrus-marinated chicken breasts. Employees shudder when they see shoppers loading up on these because the marinade is often so strong it drowns out any actual meat flavor. Some cuts are absolutely swimming in a briny solution that can push sodium levels sky high, leaving you parched and wondering what happened to the natural taste of beef or poultry. And let's not ignore texture. Soaking in a marinade for days can break down the meat so much it turns spongy or mushy once cooked. A total disappointment for anyone expecting a firm, juicy bite. Another hidden drawback is portion size. You can't usually buy just a pound or two. Instead, you're stuck with a family-sized slab of seasoned mystery. And if you don't finish it all, good luck freezing it without the marinade leaching into every corner of your freezer. Employees also mention that the marinade masks less than premium cuts, so you might be paying more for a cut that's cleverly disguised in sauce. If you love flavor, it's better to buy plain meat and use your own spices. You'll control the taste and skip the over-salted, questionable quality altogether.